Welcome back to another episode of a show we don't have a name for. Perfect. So let's start off with trivia again. Are you ready? Don't cheat. Okay. So.
Oh, God.
These are still. Some of them are music related, so I hope that helps. But I don't know how much you actually care about these people. So we'll see. What was Ice Cube's first movie?
I don't know. But the first one I remember maybe it's Anaconda, but I know that's wrong.
Babe. You can't think of anything earlier than that? Didn't Friday come out before Anaconda?
Yes.
And then something else came out before Anaconda.
Don't know.
Boys in the Hood.
Oh, fair enough. Fair enough. Yes, I'm not. Call them
It's
C
very
though.
American, huh?
Yeah, call them C.
Okay. What show starring Queen Latifah inspired Friends?
Oh, we talked about it as well.
You know I love this show.
I know what show you're talking about. I just don't know the name again. Is it? What's the name of it again?
Living Single.
Yeah, I know. You talk about it a lot, but
yeah, okay.
Never seen a single episode of it. But
have you not?
No.
I haven't shown it to you.
No, never seen it.
I don't think it's streaming out here. That's the problem.
I've seen like a clip, but then I don't know if I'm confusing it with what's it called, Hillary in Fresh Prince when she's at her own office and stuff like that. Because I've seen that's Queen Latifah in the character. They're in somewhat of an office.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe. So. Last question. This is a two-parter. I mean, not really, but there's two parts. Anyway, name two movies starring Sanaa Lathan and Taye Diggs.
Love and Basketball.
No, that is starring Sanaa Lathan, but I mean they're in movies together.
Was it Brown Sugar?
Yes.
Don't know the other one.
The Best Man.
I've never seen it.
Really?
No.
Oh my goodness. I need to put you on. See, last video we're talking about all these movies you've made me watch.
Yeah, it's because we don't have a huge African American community.
You're absolutely right.
So there's only certain films we end up watching.
For those who don't know, we're currently in London.
Yeah.
I'm from the United States.
Yeah. If I was out there, then I 100% would have.
If you were raised there.
Yeah, I 100% would have seen them. But there are some films obviously that we've seen, like Step Up, for example, is in that category.
In what category?
In like an African American.
No, Step Up is not in that category.
What is it?
Step Up is starring Channing Tatum.
No, sorry, the other one. When Chris Brown gets.
Oh,
Mario and Chris Brown and the other guy, the guy had the bald hair.
You're thinking about two different movies. Now you're thinking about the one where B2K is dancing.
Is that a black? Was that one?
Yeah.
So that one and the other one as well is also a black. Okay,
yeah.
That's the lexical. Sorry, I group all these things are merged as one. But yeah, it's part of the whole period of time when those type of dance films.
Really popular.
Were really popular.
Have you seen Save the Last Dance?
Is that the black guy and the white girl?
Yeah.
Yes, I've seen it. It's on TV. But is that, will you put that in the same character? It's definitely inspired. Yeah. 100%.
Yeah.
So yeah, you could put that in.
Because it's mostly a black cast except for...
Yeah, but it's also inspired by like... It could be done by a black actor as well.
It could happen.
But black director as well.
Oh, okay. Maybe.
I think there's a high possibility.
Yeah. I love that
Say The Last Dance.
Yeah.
I'm about to Google it now.
People are recreating her dance scene.
No, it's a white guy, Mark Asham.
I'm not surprised by that at all. But she couldn't dance, but she thought she was really doing it.
Yeah, she saved enough to make everyone believe. Exactly. Kerry Washington is in it as well.
Yeah, I know. I think we were talking about this recently because the character in the movie that we talked about in the last video in
Bad Company.
Bad Company.
Yeah,
she's in that.
She's in that.
And I was like, this is the same character from Save the Last Dance.
Oh, okay,
She had the same New York attitude, like it was the same thing.
She's trying to make this broke guy, broke boy.
Trying to better herself.
Better herself, yeah.
But speaking of New York, I think this is a great segue into the movie we're talking about today, which is 1001, starring Teyana Taylor. We have a poster. We should have put it up in the background or something. So 1001 is about a mother and a son in New York.
Yeah.
Trying to overcome some challenges.
You can say that, yeah. I mean, it becomes a mother and son trying to overcome challenges for sure.
I think that's how it starts.
It starts obviously with her and her own issues, and then and then obviously she
overcoming her own challenges.
Yeah, and then obviously she sees what supposedly is her sort of son, or is at foster care, but not necessarily being treated right.
So just to start, Teyana Taylor, it opens up with her in prison.
Yes.
I'm not clear on how long she was there, but the next scene is 1 year forward in time. She's back out on the streets of New York, and she sees her son, who was put into foster care. And she, spoiler alert, kidnaps him from the hospital. He's being treated poorly. I think the foster mom abused him, and that's why he was in foster care.
I believe so. Yeah. Was it? Or was he jumping
out? That's why he was in the hospital. He was trying to run away.
Oh, yeah. Okay, cool. He
jumped out of a window. You're absolutely right. And so Teyana Taylor goes to visit him at the hospital and is like, would you rather just come home with me? He says yes. And he spends the rest of his childhood with her.
Yeah.
Kind of on the run. They're still in New York, but she's like trying to hide him, changes his name.
Yeah, and then his social security, all that. Mm-hmm. Which obviously becomes the big revealer for the third part of the film.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what are your thoughts on the movie?
I like 2001. I think I liked the director. I do like the cinematography was really nice. It was really interesting as well. And obviously it sets in it goes between the 90s, the 2000s, 2010s as well, towards the end, I think, as well.
Maybe.
So it looks like, I think, between 20 to 30 year period on how New York changed as well. Got a little bit of bad gentrification as well. But you do get a sort of soundtrack that sort of covers the whole sort of time period as well. But more importantly, her and her struggles, coming herself from a foster.
Yeah.
From the foster system as well. And obviously ending up in jail. And then the big part of also, that sort of begins this film, and what we sort of see as the characters. This character continues letting down her supposedly sort of son all the time, and the son sort of feeling not happy about it. And then she decides to take upon this responsibility of raising a son in New York, and we see her sort of like trying to sort of find a job and then leave the accommodation that she ends as well, and then numerous sort of challenges that comes from just trying to sort of escape the law because obviously she illegally took her son from the foster care as well, and also other challenges that she has also with her partner as well, who's also another person who kind of grows up in a sort of similar environment as well.
He was also in prison,
Yeah, he comes out of jail as well. And it was very interesting. I think Teyana Taylor did quite a good job in most of the scenes. There were some of the scenes where I thought she didn't play convincingly, especially the latter part when her character seemed to have grown up a little bit more. I really think she played those really matriarchal elements really quite well as well, and I think there were some sort of emotional moments that I thought she kind of came up a little bit short. But I think most of it she got pretty much spot on, and I think everyone else got pretty much spot on, especially her husband in that film. I think he was really good. He played a really good job as well.
I need to look up his name. I always forget his name, but every time I see him in something, I'm always like, this. He does a really good job.
Yeah. But yeah, I think, but it's a very melodramatic film as well, because I think what sets the what's pushed the narrative forward is the continuous conflicts that she that affects her life. And obviously, disclaimer or spoiler alert, her husband ends up getting cancer as well, so that's another issue that they have to deal with as well. And it kind of reminded me of another film, Precious, that came out a decade ago or so as well. And of course, for people that have not seen Precious is about this girl who, along with suffering, I think that was part of the story about her weight, isn't it? That's part of the story as well, but it's her being emotionally abused by her mom, and then also it goes through, again, the various ills that happens to her. She gets pregnant, I think. Does she end up keeping the kid? I think so. Obviously, the abuse she suffers from her mom. The abuse she also suffers from her mom's partners. I think that as well. And then her going through the social care system, and then her also trying to better her own life. And we see that with Teyana Taylor's character trying to better her own life by getting a better paid job, so she can able to, get a better apartment, which she's able to get through as well. So it's very much those sort of. It's a lot of trauma porn as well in the Teyana Taylor film, but I think it's less.
Do you think?
It's less than Precious, yeah. I think it's less than Precious as well, and it's not as graphic as well.
Yeah,
I think
exactly.
that's what makes it more stomachable to watch it.
But we know that she's been through trauma, but we're not witnessing it.
I mean, we're witnessing some trauma for sure. We are witnessing obviously the one of the trauma porn is obviously her husband dying of cancer.
Well, would you label that trauma?
No, porn? so when I mean sort of trauma porn, I would label it as that, because I feel like there's loads of elements that the narrative can play with without actually having to continue to add on these extreme amount of adversity.
I just think death is a part of life, though. And
I don't dispute that.
To have someone's life and be like, let's not put somebody down.
No. But I feel like obviously the big narrative is, for example, her raising this kid as well, and of course there's a massive plot twist as well. And I think that in itself is we got a lot of resources to sort of take up on as well. We also get a little bit of story element about the dynamic between her and her husband, which I think they could have gone into greater detail as well. Absolutely. But because loads part of it, he does occupy the scene as well. But some of the parts of it, he's just not present there. Obviously for a specific reason as well. So I think that kind of works
just
as well.
To slow down a little bit. So they get married. Yeah. They have some conflict, and the husband, who's played by William Catlett, just disappears for weeks at a time.
Yeah.
And they don't show us what he's doing with his life. And
in the film doesn't necessarily sort of follows the period of him not being there,
right?
Or the absence of him not being
there.
What
he's doing in that absence.
Yeah. Or how it's affected. I think Tiana Taylor's character and the son as well.
They mention it. Yeah, the son mentions it. Like the son mentions noticing that he hasn't been there.
But I feel like and again my memory might be a little bit wrong because it's been I think a week or two 3 weeks maybe since we've seen it. But I don't feel like we get a great perspective on their own perspective of what it feels like him not being there. Yeah. We get a little bit incidents of it, but it doesn't feel like the film focuses actually on that particular element of it, and I feel like they could have drawn a lot of inspirations from there then as well. And what it is, I think more importantly, what it is to sort of raise the family from the background that they're in as well, right, rather than filling it in, for example, with other adversity as well. So yeah, another element, sort of plot, not sort of disclaimer, or what is it again?
Spoiler
alert. Is the gentrification that sort of end up happening in the
apartment building,
in the apartment building area as well, which I think was quite a good, interesting element to it as well.
I think one of my favorite parts of the movie was how much it was about New York as much as it was about this family. So we see, as Kevin's named, it's they show some of the gentrification and the changes happening in New York during this time. And one of those which they are experiencing firsthand is their apartment building being gentrified. There's new landlords coming, buying up buildings on the block, and finally it happens to them. Yeah. And they're kind of the landlord's trying to force them out, basically.
But he's doing it in a way like, oh, your house, oh wow, look at that. There's a lot of holes in your house. Right. Oh, do you want me to fix it? Oh yeah, I can fix it. This is that. But obviously he's doing that in a way, so...
He offers to fix something... Yeah. And instead tears out the kitchen or removes the shower or something, and then is like, oh, if you want us to fix it, you need to move out.
Yeah, but the whole point is if they move out, then they're going to lock the door behind them, and then he's going to forcibly take the flat away from them as well. Exactly. But again, that precipitates the son, who's now an adult, young adult.
No, he's in high school.
Adolescent. He's like, to try to get a job so he can be able to help. Yeah. To sort of
pay for anything
as well, and then in turn he ended up getting sort of like Social Security. He ended up getting this Social Security that his mum sort of had, but it doesn't sort of all add up on things like that because he takes it to the woman who's got a job for him as well, and then
the school social worker offers to help him find a job. Yeah. His mom, who changed his name after she kidnapped him, had a fake Social Security card. Yeah. He attempts to hand that over to the social worker to try to get a job, and she's like, this isn't valid, like, what's going on? Yeah. And that's when he has to confess to the social worker that...
I mean, he tries not to, but then he feels like
he panics, and he kind of overshares a little too much.
And the social worker's found out.
The social worker is concerned and gets the police involved, and that's where everything goes downhill for Tiana Taylor's character and her son. Something I was thinking about when it comes to that part.
That part.
The social worker.
The social worker, yeah.
I've worked in schools. I've been a school counselor, and I think when you're worried, the first thing on my mind is always about the child's safety, and I would never want to do something that compromised that. And I think being so quick to call the police would have been compromising his safety. Yeah. And instead of trying to learn anything about this situation, she assumes that he is an undocumented immigrant, and that's the first thing that comes to mind for her. And then from there, I just feel like her actions were pretty terrible.
Yeah, she She rushes quickly into
getting the police
involved and all that type of stuff as well. Yeah. But again, there was loads of good. I think I already mentioned the cinematography. I already mentioned, the directing is really quite good as well. And obviously the soundtrack is really good as well. Overall, it's it's a good drama. It's a good film. I think it was. It had some weird moments in it as well. I think the ending was slightly hella odd.
Very last scene.
The very last scene. I mean, that was, I think, maybe, I don't know, maybe sometimes there's certain things that happen in films in which the screenwriters or the directors trying to paint a particular emotional aspect of where the characters is, and I think that moment was just a bit badly timed, because she is in the back of the car. I mean, she's off to somewhere. I don't know exactly where she's off to, but she's sitting there smiling and laughing.
Just getting away with everything. Can you enter the...
Yeah, sorry.
I did have a little bit of issue with the writing.
Yeah.
I think...
What, in that moment?
No, the whole movie.
Yeah.
I think some things, like when you try to put so much into just... Was it even 2 hours?
Probably around that.
When you try to put so much into such a short, technically, amount of time, it can feel rushed. And I did feel like there were parts where there was conflict and the resolution happened immediately.
Yeah, I remember you saying that.
Because we need.
But again, I feel like those are like, instead of again included too much traumatic moments, allow those scenes to sort of play out, allow it more. Do you get me?
So we can see repair. I think that's the one issue I have with TV, is that like they'll be quick to show conflict, TV and film. Quick to show conflict, but no one knows how to repair.
Yeah, those are mostly those are the films where I feel like the teams that is the working with it have not, again, they are focusing on trying to push the narrative rather than like, okay, let's sit in this moment, let's really explore this moment.
Right.
Do you get me? I think that's what great drama or great films are. They could be, for example, a film called Force Majeure as well. It's a Swedish film as well by Robin Östlund. He did a film that I need to watch that you keep on talking. He did a recently film as well.
Triangle of Sadness.
Triangle of Sadness as well.
A great movie. Go watch it immediately.
And so in Force Majeure, the film is specifically about masculinity as well, but there's a masculinity of crisis. So the dad, so the whole family, they are on holiday. They are in the Alps. And then an avalanche starts to happen. So Dad reacts by taking his phone and not taking the kids. It's dark comedy, but it's really interesting as well because it questions the masculinity as well. But it also is the question as well: how does someone react when there's a grave danger? Do we all react in a way where we try to sort of save ourselves or save other individuals? So it explores that, but it links it particularly to masculinity, because as society or as a parent or as a man, your response, what we think is, or what it should be, is that we should save the kids, save our wives. You get me? Be the superhero, like in the action films we talked in the last episode. But he doesn't do that. So the whole film explores that meticulously, that idea, and we come to this funny conclusion. I can't say it because she has not seen it. You need to see it, fam. Which again sort of throws up is what we believe. Of what a man should do in that particular situation. Is that the correct thing? And I feel like same thing if someone could have done that, like explore the idea to the very depth and to the very end of it. If you have no more ideas, if there's nothing more to draw into it, you can just cut the film. You can make it less, or you can.
But the movie did not need to be shorter.
No, that's it. No. What I'm trying to say. What I'm trying to say is, like, instead of adding more moments,
right?
Like more moments, sort of push narratives. You can just forgo those moments, explore those moments, and then there you go. You got your film.
Right.
Or you can add other elements. I think we did really well in terms of adding how gentrification affects this family as well.
Yeah.
I feel like that could have been one of the big. I think that was a great centerpiece that they had as well, which also is realistic as well.
Right.
Because again, that also then pushed the narrative forward, which much better than I think Lucky having cancer and dying, because it was an odd moment as well, which I think the narrative didn't kind of make sense. I remember coming out of the cinema and talking to you about the editing there, because it got. So
even the writing.
Yeah. Because it shows the kid being angry. Right. We didn't know the kid being angry. Part of the reason why the kid was angry was because of Lucky passing away, and there was not clear transition for us as a viewer, or for us, but for me and her watching it to get that cue off as well. So I think
it wasn't until like the next scene that we're like, okay, Lucky has passed away, and that's
and again, it wasn't as again that was necessarily not clear. It was most of us adding and making sense together,
right?
But not in a way. Because some films, it wants the viewers to do the job, but it does it in a very good way. This was more like I think that they could have just
lazy writing.
Yeah, or like added a scene to make it more clear, because then the son, his actions then made sense to us of why he felt this way, right. And why he. What did he say again? I don't want to talk about Lucky. I think that's where it was.
Yeah.
And she wanted to explain something important about Lucky, which was that he had another family. I think
so.
Yeah.
We assume that's what she was trying to communicate.
Yeah. Just saying. I think we never get clear to what she was trying to. I think I think she was actually trying to also communicate. Spoiler alert. Fast forward this bit as well is that he is not her son. I think that was the part. But we are making assumptions
about.
But it seemed like she wanted to say something important.
I think I don't even think it needed a whole scene. I think if she had just said before, like, "Hey, Lucky has passed away. There's something I want to talk to you about," then that would have been enough.
Or hey, since Lucky has passed away,
right?
Yeah.
All she had to do was say, like, mention his death, and then we would have been like, "Oh man."
Yeah.
But we didn't get that, and we just got this kid's anger, which was valid, but it
didn't make no sense to us. Exactly. I feel like this guy was having like an episode.
But I wanted to say what you were saying about manhood and Force Majeure. Had this film been more about womanhood and motherhood, I think it could have been really interesting.
Well, that's interesting.
There was no kind of like. I don't think there was any character development for Teyana Taylor's character.
There is a character development.
When?
So she goes from she's not being a responsible person to being responsible for someone. So that's the big character development. And I think that's what sticks through the entire film.
She is able to become a provider, but she's still very angry.
Yeah, for sure.
She doesn't know how to communicate.
Yeah, for sure.
And so I try to give.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. I try to give some space for that, because when I was talking about there not being like resolution, like there's no restoring of relationships after conflict, it's not in Teyana Taylor's character can't do that. So I'm trying to like, why would she? Because she literally can't. But then there's no point in the film where she can.
Yeah. I feel like again that probably would have been nice for that to be the focus. But again, it's not. I think the director did not. Yeah, I feel like the director kind of missed the trick, because if a director does it, then that's what marks it from a good film to an amazing film. Do you get me?
Yeah. But it still has great score. Like the ratings
I think it got
like
high. 80 on Metacritic or 77.
It has 97 on
Rotten Tomatoes, which I think is too high, to be honest.
I agree a little bit.
I've seen dramas that are insanely amazing. Would be good, in my opinion.
But so close to 100 is a bit.
We're talking about some amazing films.
Not to always talk about Rotten Tomatoes here, but Rotten Tomatoes has this thing where it's certified fresh. So if all the top critics give it a good score, then it's certified fresh. But if on average it just has a good score, it isn't. So they do differentiate.
Like, for example, a film that I could compare it with that's also a drama.
I was going to bring up If Beale Street Could Talk. Just based on the cinematography.
I've not seen Beale Street Could Talk. But it is the Netflix film that came out in 2017, and it's about this black family that grows up in the rural part of America. And it's Mudbound. Mm-hmm. I think it's not better than Mudbound. I think Mudbound is insane.
I agree with you.
Mudbound is.
Mary J. Blige really did her thing.
I mean, the entire the acting from almost everyone is the sequencing.
Is Michelle Williams in that movie? I keep thinking it's Michelle Williams, but I can't.
Who's Michelle Williams? No, I know you talk about Michelle Williams. No. She's a British actress, okay. The one who plays, and she does. Oh, there was this wonderful scene that she's in as well. I think. With Mudbound, and what it does is so excellently is that when a moment happens, a moment is happening.
Yeah.
Do you get me? Like the way the drama sort of builds
Carey
up. Carey Mulligan.
Mm-hmm.
The way the drama builds up to one of the penultimate scenes of a Carey Mulligan character getting confronted by her neighbor, who's asking where her husband is, because she suspects her husband is cheating on her again, and the character's actually having a knife. But before that scene even happens, there is a build up. There's a build up of her describing how violent the South is, mm-hmm. from the way they sort of they cut the animals to make food as well. from the way people confront and talk to each other. Because she's trying to make a direct comparison, direct parallel to the city of where she kind of come from and where she grew up as well. And also, also just giving birth in that environment as well. Do you get me? Not having as much support, loads of sort of violence, and it builds up perfectly. And I feel like that's part of masterful filmmaking, is to rally people's emotions. And then when that moment comes, and then people are just on the edge of the seat. Do you get me? And on that scene, I'm just at the edge of the seat. Things are gonna go as bad as they possibly can, and we are masterfully seeing how Karen Morgan's character is able to not let the situation tear her out the edge. But obviously, in the end, she what's it called? The character, the neighbor, ends up killing her husband as well.
Spoiler alert!
Spoiler alert! Violently.
If you haven't seen
masterful film. I think it was done, and that woman did. She did another film as well that I think you need to watch as well, about this girl who's actually lesbian growing up in a black family as well.
It's American?
Yeah, it's American. It's American independent film as well. It's the same director as well. She's really good as well, man. See, another film made by a woman.
And 1001 was also written and directed by
a woman. Yeah.
So we can forget Mother. If you watched our last video,
Mother is just shit. It
was not good. But I was going to say one more thing about 1001.
Yeah.
All in all, what would you rate it?
What did I give it when I came out? I think I gave it a 7.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it.
Wait, so you rate 1001 higher than RRR?
But for me, it's different. It's hard. I wouldn't compare them, though. They're two different films.
I guess.
They're two different films.
And that's why the ranking system, I feel like we need to have, they all...
Yeah, because sometimes...
we come out and give something a score, and it's like, oh, Pariah.
Yeah, Pariah. Pariah is absolutely excellent. Pariah is excellent. You should watch that.
I'll check it out.
If people have not seen Pariah, it came out like 2012 or 11.
Maybe.
You should watch it as well. But again, it might be hard to find on certain streaming
2011.
It's only off. So I remember watching it at uni as well.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I would give 1001. I think I said a strong 7.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. I think I want to give it an 8, but I can't, because I do feel like some of the writing was a bit meh, and some of the acting, the son's acting.
Which one? There's 3 of them. We got the younger one, they got the middle one, and then we got the young adult one. I think young adult one was good though.
There was no young adult. They're all children, Kevin.
No, but I mean, he's like is he not 17, 18?
He's 17. That's not an adult.
Okay, sorry, but adolescent, is that what I call it?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So adolescent.
Teenage years.
So adolescent, teenage years, and then child.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the child was the best of all 3.
He didn't have to do much though. Actually, no, tell a lie.
He did a lot.
He did a lot. Sorry, let me be not thing.
When he was ignoring her on the street, I was like, damn, that's rude.
And then in the hospital, when he's in hospital bed, I think it was good as well.
The middle one
you didn't like the middle one, I think. That's the one you didn't like.
I think I was going to say the middle one was fine, but he didn't do much. The older one was the one I had the problem with the most, because it was the most emotional parts happening. And even though for some of it he did great.
Which of the parts you didn't like about him? Do you remember?
When he's talking to his mom and he's supposed to be crying, but he's not, there's no tears. I think that's my biggest issue, is like...
But yeah, I feel like maybe they should have just given him the little drop tears thing.
Something. They should have done... You're absolutely right.
He just needed help with that.
Yeah, exactly.
And then he would have been able to...
But other than that, I loved it.
Yeah.
So, those are my beefs about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Well, before we go, anything you're excited to see?
When can I talk about old films that I'm excited to see that I'm like, one day we'll watch?
Today you can do that. What's one old
I'm looking at over the thing.
Your DVDs?
Your DVDs. I still haven't seen Inglourious Bastard in full.
I don't understand why not?
But I managed to watch Apocalypse Now as well, and I think we watched it together as well. You didn't like it.
I don't think I finished it.
Yeah, you didn't enjoy it that much. I think it's like, in terms of filmmaking, that is absolutely stupid.
Yeah.
Like, it is as grand, but obviously Francis Ford Coppola is the director of The Godfathers, so it makes complete sense in terms of, or at least some of it makes complete sense in terms of how grand it is, and the action is, again, fantastic as well, and the story and the element of it as well is quite really good as well, because we are led to believe one thing, but then we come to find out, and kind of like with most of wars as well, is that the reason why you go to war is not the same reason you're gonna come back. Right. You kind of come out empty almost. You kind of come out like we didn't achieve much.
The energy that you go into it may not be the energy you come out.
Yeah, because you come out thinking that you got. So the character sort of Michael Sheen, is that his name?
I think so.
Michael Sheen, or one of the Sheen brothers. Character is out on a mission to trying to kill a former general in the American army who's now.
Is that what he was trying to do?
Yeah, he's defected and he's trying to kill him in it. And of course, the military has painted this person as complete like the sort of bad guy as well. But then you find out as the film sort of progresses and as he gets to the ultimate stage that a lot of the reasons that they gave him was completely sort of wrong as well, and that he did not. Like, even if he dies, it wouldn't necessarily not solve the issues at hand as well. Mm-hmm. So I think that's kind of a lot of the same things we've learned quite a lot looking at some of the wars that have happened as of recently, the Iraq war, even Afghanistan and stuff like that as well. And a lot of the wrong false narratives that people sort of paint as well. So I think that's what I got a lot from Apocalypse Now. And that film came out in the late 70s. And look at these wars that came up quite recently. I guess we would never learn.
Exactly. That part. So you're excited. I think if we look at your DVD stack, one movie I'm excited. I've seen most of it. I've seen Lady Bird. I've seen Inglourious Basterds.
Have you seen La Dolce Vita?
No. And I haven't seen Bicycle Thieves, which you told me about. So I think that should be.
Probably some other more. Is there any other you want to watch?
I want you to watch Triangle of Sadness.
Yeah.
And I want to watch Force Majeure. And I think Will Ferrell redid that.
Which one?
Force Majeure. Like Will Ferrell and Tina Fey, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I think so. That. Oh, that is terrible. I wouldn't want. Oh no, is Will Ferrell the comedic one or Will Ferrell the Irish one?
No, Will Ferrell is. You're thinking about Colin Farrell.
Colin Farrell, I'm confusing them.
Will Ferrell's the comedian.
Oh yeah. No, that is a. I mean. I don't know about that.
Anyway. Well, that's it for today. Thank you for watching this video, and we'll see you in the next one.
Cool.